Hi there, and welcome to the Celeb Tea. Kyle Richards has always been at the center of conversation when it comes to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But lately, one of the most talked about aspects of her life isn't just her role on the show, it's her friendship with Bzoma St. To be honest, this friendship has sparked as much intrigue as any of the dramatic storylines that Bravo serves up season after season. After the highly charged reunion, fans were buzzing with questions. Were Kyle and Bzoma still on good terms, or had the tension ended their bond? Kyle recently cleared the air, and her update was a surprising blend of honesty, warmth, and reassurance that their friendship is still intact. But before diving into what Kyle revealed, let's rewind for a moment. Everyone knows Kyle Richards. She's been a staple on RHOBH since the very first season, essentially the heartbeat of the series. She has weathered countless feuds, shifting alliances, and emotional storylines over the years. Then, Bzoma St. emerged, a dynamic individual who defies the stereotype of a typical Beverly Hills friend. She's not part of the Hollywood social scene, nor is she interested in reality TV fame. Instead, she's a powerhouse businesswoman with a global reputation, someone who built her career at companies like Uber, Apple, Pepsi, and Netflix. She even authored a best-selling book. Bzoma's presence in Kyle's world immediately stood out. Unlike many of the women who float in and out of housewife circles, she carried herself with undeniable confidence and authenticity. Fans noticed how quickly her connection with Kyle grew, and many were fascinated by how different she was compared to the usual Beverly Hills crowd. She wasn't there to play games or throw shade for the cameras. She was bold, unapologetic, and refreshingly straightforward. That quality made her a standout addition to Kyle's life, and, by extension, to the storyline. However, as any loyal Housewives viewer knows, drama eventually finds its way into even the strongest friendships. The reunion episode proved no exception. Viewers couldn't help but notice that things between Kyle and Bzoma appeared strained. At one point, Bzoma openly called Kyle out on a few issues, and that honesty made the tension palpable. Some fans immediately jumped to the conclusion that this confrontation meant the end of their bond. After all, it wouldn't be the first time a friendship unraveled on Housewives over one heated exchange. But Kyle recently set the record straight. In a candid conversation, she explained that while there was tension during the reunion, it didn't mark the end of her relationship with Bzoma. Instead, she emphasized that real friendships involve uncomfortable moments. According to Kyle, true friends don't avoid conflict. They face it, talk it out, and come back stronger. She admitted that words were exchanged and emotions ran high, but she laughed about how everything always seems exaggerated on Housewives. When cameras are rolling, the smallest disagreement can feel like the end of the world. Yet, once the filming stops and life settles back into its normal rhythm, the drama doesn't feel nearly as overwhelming. Kyle described it perfectly. When the cameras are gone, you remember that you're just human beings, capable of talking things through and moving forward. What stood out most was how deeply Kyle respects Bzoma. She spoke not just about liking her as a friend, but about valuing her as a woman, a strong, accomplished individual whose presence she genuinely cherishes. That kind of language is meaningful, especially considering Kyle's long history with friendships on the show that imploded and never recovered. From fractured family ties to broken bestie bonds, Kyle has lived through painful splits. But with Bzoma, she's making it clear that this dynamic is different. It's not just another reality TV friendship that disappears when the cameras stop rolling. Part of what makes this bond so unique is Bzoma herself. She isn't merely an accessory in Kyle's social life, she's a force with her own powerful identity. Her career achievements are staggering, and her philosophy about life, being bold, authentic, and refusing to dim her light for anyone, is exactly what sets her apart. During the reunion, when she challenged Kyle, it wasn't out of malice or for the sake of stirring up drama. It was about holding her friend accountable, and that's what true friends do. They don't enable bad habits or gloss over uncomfortable truths. They speak up because they care enough to want the best for you. Kyle admitted that while it felt uncomfortable in the moment, she ultimately values that honesty. She recognizes that Bzoma pushes her to grow, to reflect, and to see the world from new perspectives. In fact, she made it clear that she doesn't want to surround herself with people who sugarcoat everything. Instead, she appreciates that Bzoma keeps it real, even if it stings sometimes. And that's a huge step for Kyle. Many housewives have struggled with defensiveness, often refusing to acknowledge when someone else has a valid point. But Kyle is showing growth by admitting she admires being challenged. Of course, fan reactions have been split. Some believe Kyle is only emphasizing the positive to protect her public image, worried that admitting to a falling out would make her look like she can't maintain new friendships. Others genuinely believe her and appreciate seeing two women navigate conflict in a way that doesn't escalate into a full-blown feud. In the world of housewives, where one argument often turns into a season-long battle, this feels refreshingly mature. Kyle's sincerity comes across, though, especially when you consider what she's been going through personally. Between her marriage troubles, the constant swirl of rumors, and the relentless drama of reality TV life, it seems clear she's craving genuine, lasting connections now more than ever. She even mentioned how short life is, stressing that she doesn't want one bad moment to ruin something meaningful. That statement alone shows a level of wisdom and perspective that many viewers find admirable. She knows the audience tunes in for the drama, but in her personal life, Kyle wants peace and happiness. She wants to be surrounded by people who uplift her, not drag her down. And Bozoma clearly fits into that vision. So, where do things really stand between Kyle Richards and Bzoma St. According to Kyle, the two are in a very good place. Whatever tension surfaced at the reunion has been left behind, and their friendship remains intact. They're still spending time together, talking often, and supporting each other, both on and off camera. Kyle even went as far as to say she deeply admires how Bozoma carries herself, and that she wants to keep this friendship strong for the long run. That's refreshing to hear because, let's be honest, Real Housewives friendships don't have the best track record. We've watched so many relationships crumble over arguments that, in hindsight, seem small. But Kyle and Bozoma are showing that conflict doesn't have to mean the end. In fact, they've proven that disagreements can actually bring people closer, as long as both parties are willing to work through the uncomfortable parts. Kyle admitted she values having someone like Bozoma in her life because she doesn't sugarcoat things. Instead, she pushes Kyle to grow, reflect, and face situations from a different perspective. While that honesty can sting in the moment, Kyle sees it as a gift, especially compared to the superficial friendships that often come with Beverly Hills. Of course, not all fans are convinced. Some believe Kyle is only saying these things to protect her image, while others genuinely see sincerity in her words. Regardless, it's clear that Kyle has been craving authentic connections more than ever, especially with all the personal challenges she's faced recently. One of the most striking things she said was that life is too short to let one bad moment destroy something meaningful. That level of reflection suggests she's truly prioritizing peace, happiness, and real bonds over petty drama. For her, Bzoma represents exactly that. Authenticity, strength, and the type of friend who holds you accountable while also lifting you up. So for now, Kyle and Bozoma's friendship is alive and well. They've moved past the reunion drama, and Kyle seems genuinely invested in keeping this relationship strong. And maybe that's the bigger lesson here. In a world where housewives' friendships often crash and burn, sometimes two people can disagree, move on, and come out even stronger in the end.